Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time today to join us for our webinar, Technology Coach Tips, Empowering Teachers to Teach with Technology. Before we dive into the webinar, for those of you who aren't familiar with Dino, Dino is a classroom management software that helps teachers defeat distractions and keep students on task in a digital one-to-one learning environment. As an EdTech partner to thousands of educators, tech coaches, and admins, we have the resources to help guide your school device program in the right direction, which is why we team up with educators and tech coaches to host webinars like these. We believe that tech coaches are the heroes of EdTech and the heroes of Dino. So we have spent the summer talking to tech coaches in our network to better understand their role and create useful resources that tech coaches can use every day. So today we've teamed up with tech coach Tiffany Todd from Linton Stockton to get some insight into how you as a tech coach can empower teachers to teach with technology this back to school season. Here's what to expect in today's webinar. This webinar will be recorded and will be available to all post-event by the end of this week. Feel free to share it with anyone in your network who would find it useful. We hope that we will have a lot of useful information here for you today. We will have a question and answer portion at the end of the webinar, so feel free to submit questions using the Q&A tool at the bottom of your webinar deck throughout the webinar and at the end, and we will answer those at the end of the webinar. So to introduce ourselves before we start this webinar, I'm Tiara Lustig, and I am a marketing specialist here at Dino. My goal is to highlight the educator's voice to get the right message in front of the right people, specifically to inspire and encourage action to help educators and tech coaches make informed decisions on how to optimize student devices and programs in their classrooms, and to give tech coaches the resources they need to feel confident bridging that gap between teachers and admins within the ed tech part of education. And today we've partnered with Tiffany Todd, a technology coach joining us here from Linton Stockton. Thank you, Tiffany, so much for taking the time to be with us today. Let's get started. Before we jump into the questions, I'll just outline what you guys will learn today. So we hope that you will learn how to build strong and trusting relationships with your teachers, how to support teachers with technology on a daily basis, which resources encourage appropriate and independent teacher technology usage. And so this will be both through Tiffany's experience as a tech coach and my background with Dino. So Tiffany, before we dive into those questions, I have some stats here on Linton Stockton. Could you give us a background into your school and your school's technology environment?
Yes, I actually graduated from there. And so it's kind of was like going back home, which was kind of fun. And this will be my third year there. I taught at a local school prior to that. And then they finally at Linton decided a tech coach was a valuable job. So they opened that up 3 years ago, and I jumped at the opportunity. And that year was our first year to completely go one-to-one all over. We had sixth graders had them, and third graders had, like we had the groups of grade levels having Chromebooks, but now everybody has had one for the last 3 years. We have 2 other technology guys who are just like the main tech people. They don't do anything with integrating the technology, and I don't do anything with the fixing the Chromebooks. So there's a little group of 3 of us, and we get the job done. But yeah, we have teachers who are, retired age, who want to come and learn more about how to use these Chromebooks, and we have teachers who don't want anything to do with the Chromebooks. So we're pretty broad. We're a smaller school too, so that makes the whole relationship building and people knowing me and knowing my personality and how they can just call me up and say, hey Tiff, I want to teach this lesson, can you come and help, use the Chromebooks and stuff like that. So it's a pretty cool and easy environment to work in, because we all we're kind of family in a way, but with the use of technology and being able to share what I know with these people, it's a lot easier in our corporation for me personally than my old school, because I didn't have those relationships there. I didn't know, I wasn't teaching my kindergarten teacher, but here at my school, it's kind of fun because I get to be me, and we get to have a lot of fun, and they trust me too. Trusting and me telling them it's going to work, it'll be fine is a big deal too. So I love our corporation. We're going places right now too. So it's just an exciting time of the year also.
Awesome. Well, that kind of leads into our next questions. But before we go there, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen and put us on video.
Oh, great.
Give me 1 second.
It's my favorite part. I'm sorry to all of you. I did not dress up today.
Okay.
But I got a nice background.
All right. So we are here. So we're going to start these questions. So kind of what you just said about making sure that your teachers really trust you and that you have that trusting relationship with them. So I've been talking to tech coaches all summer. And one thing that I've heard is that building those trusting and strong relationships between the teacher and the tech coach is almost more important than the technology that you're teaching them to use. So can you kind of explain what tactics you found most effective for building those trusting relationships and how you maintain those, especially with teachers coming in at the beginning of the school year?
Yeah, well, the first thing that comes to mind is when you first start doing trainings, you always do the after school or before school trainings and bring everybody in. And when I first started at Sullivan, which was my old school, I didn't know anyone. And so my big thing was I always took food. I mean, you know, like that was like their way of thinking, oh yeah, she's got something for us. Because teachers want something out of it, just like students want to come to school and they want something out of what we're giving them. Teachers want the same thing. So that was my way of saying, I am one of you. I want to give to you and to offer my services. So food is always a big deal with teachers. You know, it doesn't even matter if it's carrot sticks and celery. They still think, oh yeah. But anyways, but when I moved to Linton, when I came back home and started working at my school, it was a hard balance because there were people I had no idea who they were. They were brand new people. And then there were these people who I've known my whole life. You know, some were even family. So for me to be that professional of, I know my stuff, like I know how to use this certain tech tool in your room, trust me, was difficult, but it was fun at the same time because I'm kind of nuts. You'll tell here in the next 20 minutes that we're together, but I just went in all in and I said, this is how we're going to do it. And we actually didn't do before and after school trainings. We did during school trainings. So I was allowed, I didn't take their time. So like I made the schedule work to where that was one way for me to figure out how to make them feel like it was for them, because I wasn't taking their time. I was going to them during the school day. And what they appreciated the most that I did was I team taught with them. We found a tech tool. Well, we found their curriculum and then we integrated the tech tool that I felt would work well with that, because you don't find a tech tool and then want to teach it. You have to teach something and use the tech tool. So I worked with the teachers pretty closely on those kinds of things too, and we were allowed to bounce ideas off of each other. And then I made them feel like they were the ones leading the show. So and they learned so much. And as soon as the thing is about the relationship building, they want to trust you and they want to believe in you. But the thing is, as soon as they see the students' faces when they get to do something awesome on their computers is worth it, because then they see the value in it, because they see how the students react by changing something and doing something a little bit more geared toward what the students are into, which is the technology and stuff. So yeah, that's just, I just kind of like to have fun with it. I have my own little ways to do different things, but yeah. And one other thing that I did do, I might be just talking off, but I got to the point to where they kept saying, you're taking my time, and I didn't want to take after school time anymore. So I actually developed a badging system, which was for the teachers. I put together professional development videos or trainings or tutorials, and they did it on their own, kind of like, I mean, their systems all out there like that all the time. But that was another thing that I did on my own with a small team of technology people. So that was another way for me to give to the teachers. I was always wanting to make it easiest for them in the best way that I possible, which sometimes was more work, but I am here today, you know.
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome. Were those videos something on YouTube that anyone could access, or did you kind of
sometimes I would just, you know, take things from YouTube and put them in and then give credit to where it goes to. Sometimes like if it was certain, like let's use Dino for example, there's not a lot of like, there's the videos out there, but like my teachers might want to know, like, how do I create this certain kind of blocking plan? So for some teachers, you have to go and say, this is what you have to allow, and like use the tools that the websites that they want. So I would make it personalized towards what they wanted, and I would put them, I used the website S'more, which is kind of like an online newsletter, but it makes a really cool layout for tutorials, and it's pretty. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that kind of leads into my next question, which is what learning resources you provide to teachers to empower them to use technology appropriately. Are there outside resources that you use, or is it mostly self-curated?
Well, I want to say a lot of it I don't really create. I just kind of sit there and help them, because when I first started, I made a slideshow for everything. But then you realize that nobody really goes back and looks at that slideshow. So my slideshow started being just for me, like a couple words, and just for me to know what I needed to tell them. But the biggest thing right now in our school corporation is we just changed the teacher evaluation to match with the ISTE standards, which I haven't even began to study yet. But I know that they're a really awesome thing, and they'll really take the use of technology to a higher level, and the use of where does the SAMR model fit in their technology use, because we have teachers who might just be thinking using technology is using their projector and doing like a Kahoot, but that's like that substitution model of the SAMR. And so our goal this year is to get teachers to be okay with the substitution model, but understand how they can move up that SAMR model with the different tools that we're going to offer. We've actually, I built a team of 7 of us for this year. There's 7 technology coaches, and we're going to do different, like throughout our buildings, and we're going to do different trainings this year that revolve around those ISTE standards. And if we do a tech tool like, I don't know, Google Slides, because we are Google school. So if we're showing them Google Slides, we want to show them how it can be used in all 4 of those categories of the SAMR model. So that's kind of our focus more this year. That's the resource that we're going to use. There's all of these tech tools, but you can get to a point to where you can almost be tech tooled out. Like Google Slides works, and there's so much you can do with it, and you can make it more like a movie. But if we're just putting in words and pictures on each slide, then that's just, let's take it a little farther, a little bit more advanced. So there's all of these different tools, and we're constantly going on and looking at the top 10 technology integration tools and seeing what they are, like Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is a tool that we use because we do e-learning days at our corporation, but it's a tool that you can just put a video on and stop it wherever you want and ask questions. And it's like flipping your class, it's flipping your classroom essentially, but it allows the kids to learn, and it allows the teachers to throw it out there. But that's a tool that's been around for a while, but our teachers are using it constantly, so they've mastered that. So now it's time to find something, in my opinion, to find something else. They're like, oh, I'm good at this. I only want to use this one, which is fine. They're still using something as long as they found their niche. To us, that's all that really matters. But now we want to get them to where they understand the levels of the use, like a Bloom's taxonomy mindset. But you are all educators, you know what I'm talking about.
Do you find that constructing a team like you're doing helps the whole district be on the same page and kind of ensure that you're confident that teachers are getting the same training across the district and no one school is kind of farther ahead in technology than the other?
Yeah, well, we have a high school, a middle school, and an elementary school, and we're all on one campus. And that's like, I go to trainings with people who have like 14 elementary schools, and they're like the one technology integration, and I'm like, sorry about you. But so we put 3 people in the elementary, and then 2 in the high school, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and two in the high school, and 2 in the middle school. And they're actually, and we kind of, so what I like to say is this year they took my pay and split it between 7 people, because now 7 people have to do one job. But anyways, that's besides the point. Because I'm going back into the classroom this year to teach a STEM class. So I'm stoked about that. But anyway, so the 7 of us, we're required to meet once a month or once in 9 weeks whenever we feel best, and we plan those technology trainings together. So those 3 elementary tech trainers are are in that school, and they know what those teachers want because they all eat lunch together. They all pass each other in the hallway. So their job is to kind of just go out and kind of see what people need and where they are. And then we come together and we're like, what does your school need? And then what does your school need? And we develop these trainings, and usually 3 to 4 of us will do that one training all together, which kind of allows, because when you're the one tech coach leading a session and all these people have questions, you want that team. And I think it's going to be very successful this year. I can't wait.
That's awesome. So how do you, as a technology coach, support teachers on a day-to-day basis? Aside from kind of the big PD parts of the year, like just daily, what do you do with them?
Well, every day in the past, every day I've been available all day. Like I have an office, they can stop in, they can, call me, they can text me, I'm available wherever they need to go. And I'm usually on my feet all day because people are calling and texting constantly. That's another good thing about being a smaller school too, is I can almost get to everyone in that one day. And a lot of things that I did last year was I put myself in the classroom, kind of, with the teachers agreed to it, but I forced myself kind of in there to get in the room more, because there's something about training the teacher and then they leave, they leave the training and they're like, well, what? But my day-to-day schedule was more, I was in a different classroom a couple times a week doing a lesson with the class. Like I was the teacher leading, just helping, that co-teaching kind of aspect that I kind of mentioned. That's what I did a lot this last year. And that really helped, especially our lower grades, kindergarten, first, second grade teachers realize like, hey, these kids can turn the Chromebooks on and type their passwords in and type a Google document, which was awesome because they have that fear, because they've always typed the passwords in for them. They've always unplugged them. But with me being another person in there saying it's okay, and then them just the trust issue, the trust thing of them saying, oh, well, she says if it breaks, it breaks. She's got to pay for it, So, but yeah, so that's what I did most of the days. I liked being in the class with the teachers and the students because it lets me know how kids learn too. That's a big part of it.
That makes a lot of sense. So in terms of that kind of fear of technology that teachers can have at times, do you have any other ways to empower them aside from being in the classroom hands-on with them?
Well, we did that badging program for a while, which I created it with another teacher at another school, and they had a little bit more money than we did. So she actually created these things that went outside the teachers' classrooms, almost like a Girl Scout sash, but it was a plaque. And every time they did a badge, like if they did Symbaloo, which is a tech, I'll just name these tech tools. If they completed the badge on Symbaloo and they've kind of mastered that website, they know what it is, they got the Symbaloo badge outside of their classroom door. And then, so some teachers would have like 5 or 6, some would have like 10 or 12, and then the kids would be able to see that too. And it was really fun in the middle school and high school level because the kids would be like, hey, Mrs. Jones has 14 badges and you only have 2, and we do some really cool stuff in her class. Can we try this in your class? And then you see that they want to do more because the kids want them to do more. That's empowering too, is when the kids are encouraging them, like, hey, I want to learn like this. So yeah, the badging thing was fun, and that helped the teachers feel like I accomplished something, like I did Google certified this summer and I got the little badge on my email. So I feel real official now.
That's awesome.
It's a silly thing, but as adults, we like it still. So
true. So then kind of gearing towards a little bit of Dino, your district became a Dino customer in 2017, I believe. And so what was it like prior to having Dino, and how has Dino helped your school's technology environment empower their teachers?
Yeah, before Dino, it was a constant, we're not using our Chromebooks at all. They can do their homework on them, they can type on them, but during class time, they're going to be shutting under their desk. And well, I mean, that's fine, but a lot of kids would check out when they're told they can't do something. They're like, well, even if it wasn't needed, as soon as they're told that they can't do it, they want to do it, It's that whole mind thing. But our teachers, we wanted to move more towards online assessments, formative and summative. Just if it's a little quiz, we wanted to move that way. And so, and our administration was trying to push it, but the teachers were pushing back hard because there was no way that they could see the kids' screens, and unless they were up walking around like they should be. But there was no, like, they didn't have anything. There wasn't that tool that would like make them feel a little bit more comfortable. And so that was the biggest thing that they were telling me that they wanted. They didn't want, they didn't need a reading tool. They didn't want a math tool. They wanted something to help manage in the classroom. And I've come from an Apple school where we had this Apple thing and it was cool and expensive and all this stuff. I said, I know there are programs out there. So we did a little hunt, and then I forget who I even talked to. What was his name? Anyways, he was cool, and they were from Indiana, and that was a cool thing too. I was like, oh yeah, let's do this. Totally. Let's shop local. It's a thing. So we just went for it. And I would say 95% of our teachers love it. And then always that 5%, they're like, oh no, kids get knocked off. Well, it's not the program, people. It could be anything. You have to it's technology. So they always get frustrated about that, but that's going to be what people hear a lot. Whenever you're looking for something, they're going to hear the sides that don't really matter to me. But that 95%, they love it. They're giving formative assessments with the formative app. They're giving Google Forms app. We're looking into getting, I forgot the name of it. Anyways, it's a tool that you develop test on assessment. Now it's going to bother me. Doesn't matter. But you develop these tests on, and it's awesome. The standards are in it. The DOK level questions are in it. It's really cool. See, I'm going to stutter until I think of the name of that. Oh, well. But yeah, so now they're comfortable because they can see the kids' screen, like they can see, or if they're not even looking and they suspect, they're always, high school teachers are always wanting to catch that cheater. They suspect those kids, they can pull that report and see who was where, even if it doesn't. So I got a good chunk of my teachers who are on board with doing online testing, because that's how our kids are standardized testing now. So if we're still giving them paper pencil, which is fine, but if we're still doing it constantly, they're not getting that drag and drop and looking at a screen for an hour interaction that they need. So yeah, and we only use it in our high school and middle school level. We don't have it in our elementary level just because it's just a different atmosphere. But it's pretty nice.
Right.
That's how we use it. I stuttered. Sorry, I don't know what's happening.
You're totally fine. That's one of the things that we hear from a lot of tech coaches, is that teachers are very content just having it running and then seeing the report after class just to make sure that kids were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and the thing our teachers wanted to do is they wanted to sit at their desk. Well, not all of them, but you'll have those teachers who want to sit at their desk and just watch it the whole time. And those are the teachers who are going to find that kid who gets knocked off or whatever, or the kid who's figured out how to get around Dino. Okay, it happens. You can download anything. Like, who cares? Like, don't stand around your room. Let that report run. Close it when the class is over. And if you think there's a huge problem, then run that report. But that's the biggest thing that we had to get our teachers to understand, is it's not for you to sit and watch. So.
Right. Well, awesome. We will take any questions that anyone has now. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. If any attendees want to submit questions in the Q&A or in the chat, we'll have our eye on there. So feel free to submit questions now. And we'll give it a minute or so. If nobody has any questions, we'll wrap it up, but we're kind of hoping to get a few. Okay, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Okay, it doesn't look like we're getting any questions, so why don't we go ahead and wrap this up?
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for being here. Really hope you learned a lot from this and can share this recording with your technology teams once we send the recording to you. We're going to be producing a ton. Oh, we just got a Q&A question. Tiffany, this is for you. Do you drag those few teachers along who are not excited about collaborating? This is for Mary.
We just got a new superintendent, and I don't want to say this is her, but she's passionate about moving forward, and she's ready, and we are ready to move forward. And and that's what I'm most excited about. But I personally help them as much as I'll help them. But if they don't want to learn, then yeah, I don't really drag them along. I don't know the nice way to say that, but like I have teachers who are retiring this year who are still coming to my and wanting to learn more, and I have teachers who are going to retire soon who don't want they don't even get their Chromebooks out. Their first grade class probably never touches the Chromebooks. But also you get a lot of complaints about that too. So
that makes sense. We have another question from Tori asking, what were a couple of the most useful tools for elementary curriculum?
we just, you can get a free version of this math tool called I Know It. It's elementary math. You can pay for it too, but I know we tried the free version for a little bit. That's a math one that we really like. There's tons of math ones. There's a really cool science one called Mystery Science, and you can get a free trial for your corporation right now too. I actually just did it, and it costs a little bit. You can use some free, but what it does is it gives the kids a video and text and questions, and it walks them through a science lesson. Like I'm a STEM person too. I love engineering and science and technology and math and all that stuff. But it will, if you've never seen Mystery Science, I think it's mysteryscience.com. It used to be like Science Dave or Science Doug or something like that. It's what it used to be called. It's the coolest thing. Kids love it. You just get them on it and they just run with it. It tells them what materials they need. We did these roller coasters one day, and it says, now get up and go grab all of your materials. And I just had the materials and buckets ready for them to grab when they got there. It's a cool tool too. Sorry, I got all off board on Mystery Science. Language arts ones, we pay for a couple. We've paid for ScoopPad. We pay for IXL sometimes. Epic is one of the biggest tools that our teachers use. It's online books from all ages. They read them to them. There's also questions on there. So Epic is one of our favorites. And the teachers can print out this little caterpillar and you get different Epic points and you fill in the caterpillar. It's fun. But our elementary kids love Epic because you'll have kids who still want a real book, but then you'll have all of those kids who think reading on their device is awesome. So those are three top that just came to my mind. Yeah. I'm still trying to think of that one tool that you create quizzes on because that's awesome.
Okay, and then one last question from Daniel. Have you thought of training students to teach teachers or be a resource for them like a student help desk?
That's an awesome question. My tech guy does not want to have students help him fix the Chromebooks. We went there. I've been to schools that do that, and it's awesome. But I am going to teach a class of 7th graders this year, 5 classes actually. And one of our things in our classes, we're going to have a calendar offered to teachers to sign up for in-classroom training. And so if a teacher wants, let's say their 2nd grade class to learn how to make Google Slides or something different, I just thought of that. Edulastic. Is that the name of that tool? Sorry, I'm so random. But anyways, my kids, my 7th graders are going to be able to go out into the classroom during the hour they have me and help teach that lesson. So I'm going to help train them to go and help in elementary classrooms. And that's what I'm kind of excited about that because that'll be fun.
That's awesome. Well, if that looks like,
I see a coding question, and we use code.org, and I just went to a Project Lead the Way training that we kind of got for free through a grant too, and they do coding with the microbits, and that's the coolest thing I've ever seen, and it's easy, and 6th and 7th graders are going to do it easily, but they code on the microbit website, and we have a girls who code club in the middle school and in the elementary school, and it's phenomenal. And we do Vex robotics, which is build a robot and then you can drive it with a remote, but you can also code it to move. So those are some really cool things too. No, not quizzes. That's what I'm not thinking of. Sorry.
You're fine. Okay, and then Daniel just said CodeSpark is cool too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that looks like all the questions we have. I think we're going to wrap this up because of timing, but thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to be having a lot of really, really helpful content rolling out this summer in this back to school season. So be sure to subscribe, follow us, and stay tuned for our webinar next month. Tiffany, thank you so much. This has been great.
No problem. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble on.
All right. We will see you all next time.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye.